Today I'll be getting my kitchen ready for its third inspection. I'll also be sharing tips on how I had my kitchen registered and how you can too. I'm happy to say that my kitchen has received an A grade at every inspection, which is the highest grading that you can get for a food business. This is a folder that I made that has all of the important documents that you'll need at your inspection. You'll need to show the inspector a hard copy of your food control plan or the digital version. The folder also contains recipes and allergen information. I will leave all the necessary links and information inside the description. I have a separate cupboard inside my kitchen that I use to store all of my cookie business ingredients. I'm going to give the pantry a thorough clean, so I'm just removing all of the ingredients from the shelves. On this rack I keep the food colouring and the food dyes. I'm going to take the whole thing out and give it a good clean. Even though these areas do not come into direct contact with food, it's still an important part of the kitchen to keep clean. Once I've taken everything out of the cupboard, I will hand wash this rack and then I'll go in with a Dettol sanitizer. I'll spray all of the shelves, the cupboard doors, as well as the handle. I'm now wiping the benches and food preparation surfaces, wiping everything down and sanitizing the areas where I prepare cookies and decorations. Next, I'm moving on to the oven, which gets a lot of use. As a cookie business owner, my oven is probably the most important piece of equipment inside the kitchen, so it's something I like to keep on top of throughout the year. Today I'm giving it a more thorough clean by wiping down the inside of the oven, removing any baked on residue, and making sure there aren't any crumbs left inside from previous baking days. I'm also cleaning the oven door, including the glass, which somehow always ends up covered in fingerprints and spiders after a busy week of baking. The oven racks are also getting a good clean as well. Over time, grease crumbs and small bits of food can build up, so it's important to keep them clean and in good condition. Believe it or not, but the verifier also checks that everything is working properly and that the oven is in good condition with no damage that could affect food safety. A clean oven also helps with consistency when baking cookies. The last thing I want is burnt residue affecting the quality of my products or creating unwanted smells while I'm baking. I spend so many hours every week using this oven, so taking time to properly clean and maintain it is definitely worth it. I spray the oven with anti-grease solution and I'm just letting it sit for 5 minutes before I scrub it off. If you have ever cleaned an oven before, you'll know that getting off those baked on stains is impossible. So using some type of oven cleaner solution is a game changer. Lastly, I'm just spraying the outside with some antibacterial spray to remove any fingerprints or whatever else was left during baking. I've successfully cleaned all the shelves inside of my baking cupboard, so I'm putting all of the ingredients back and then moving on to another part of the kitchen. Now I'm moving on to the sink, which is one of the most frequently used areas in my kitchen. Throughout the week, the sink gets used constantly for washing equipment, cleaning utensils, filling water containers, and general kitchen cleaning, so it's important to keep it clean and well maintained. So that's the cleaning done and dusted. I've cleaned the kitchen from the bottom to top. I cleaned the ovens, the cupboards, and everything in between. I also wanted to share some important things that you'll need to do if you have a food inspection coming up. Hopefully if you're running a food business already, you're doing most of this stuff. One of the biggest things is making sure all ingredients are clearly labelled when they're transferred into containers. I always include the ingredient name and the date it was opened or transferred so I can keep track of freshness and stock rotation. Keeping records inside your business is super important, and it's actually one of the things that the verifier will look at. It definitely takes a lot more preparation behind the scenes than people probably realize. Running a food business isn't about creating the final product that customers see. There's so much work that happens before that point. From keeping records updated, organizing ingredients, maintaining a clean workspace, and making sure every process is followed correctly. Food safety is something that has been considered every single day. When I first started my cookie business, I never realized how much responsibility comes with producing food. Every order that leaves my kitchen is something that represents my business, so making sure everything is done properly is really important to me. Food verification can feel a little overwhelming, especially when you're trying to make sure you've remembered everything. But having good systems in place makes the process so much easier. The biggest thing I've learned during my cookie business journey is that preparation is everything. If you stay organized throughout the year and have all of your business documents updated, when it's time for your inspection, it'll be a whole lot easier. As I finish getting everything ready for my food inspection, it's moments like this that make me stop and reflect on how far this business has come. When I first started my cookie business, I never imagined I'd one day be running a registered food business that has systems in place, procedures, records, and food safety requirements. Even though my business is still quite small, I'm really proud of what I've built. This business started with a simple idea and has grown into something that serves hundreds of customers throughout the year. I've tried to pack in as much information as I can about how to register a food business, because when I was still learning how to do this, it was really hard to find all the information that you needed. The first time my cookie business was registered, I didn't actually know you needed a specific type of sanitizer. The sanitizer that I was using was just the standard type of sanitizers that you can get at stores. When you are sanitizing the benches before you start cooking or baking, the sanitizer that you use needs to have a specific type of code and it needs to be food safe. So I'll show you the code on the bottle that I have. I purchased this one from Gilmore's. It was the only place that I could find that actually had this type of code on it. It would need to say NZFSA, which stands for New Zealand Food Safety Authority, which basically just means that the NPI ensures that the sanitizer is safe for food processing and preparation areas. This is very, very important, and you can actually get marked down if you don't have the correct sanitizer. The last item is kind of obvious, it's a thermometer. You'll need this to check the temperature inside your fridge and freezer, as well as checking any products that are inside, like butter or cookie dough. I tried to make this video as short as possible while packing in as much information. For the final portion of the video, I will show you how I registered my food business online. So go ahead and search in your regional council's website. I'm based in Auckland, so obviously I'll be using the Auckland Council website. Click on the article that says apply for food registration. If you browse through the article, it will show you all the requirements that you need to start a food business. Before you get started with the verification process, you need to register your business online. If you click on the link, it will show you all the documents that they need. If I can remember correctly, it was a photo of your kitchen. They wanted to see a photo of the workspace, so like the benches and the cupboards. They also wanted a description of the food that you'll be selling. So I'm selling cookies, so I just wrote down the sort of cookies that I'll be selling. And I think the final thing the council wanted to know was if I was selling any temperature sensitive food. So an example would be like sushi. You'd need to make sure that like you're storing it correctly and that you're following the correct like storage and handling procedures, because obviously if you aren't following the correct procedures, then it can be unsafe to sell to the public. But yeah, the process is really simple. You just need to register your business and carefully read through the documents. If you need to come back and, research something, then you can save your progress online. But that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, then leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. I'll also leave some useful links in my description about how you can register your food business. Until next time, thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next video.